Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Who's that? Narottam Kennedy? Yash, yeah, Yash. I'm not sure. Who's that Yash? There's someone named Yash. I'm not sure if we can let him come on or not. Yeah, they're all old timers. So. Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Krishna. He's a regular. I wonder where Ganesham, he comes for every one. He's one of the first one of the first ones.
The mystery, yeah?
Yeah, he writes a nice Vyasa Puja on it.
Oh, yeah?
Snow. Come
Marita.
Can you? Actually, you can.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Haribo, Hare Krishna, everybody. Hare Krishna.
Hare.
Wherever you are around the world, we send you our best wishes. Hare Krishna. Start kirtan.
Let me bring the charger, Maharaj, in case.
The charger, yeah. Oh, yeah. Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Vimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nivasesha Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nivasesha Asyachare Satarine. Don't do mittens at the top. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Lord Premanande,
Hari Hari Bol.
Radha Madhava,
Jai.
Kunja Bihari.
Jai Madhava Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Radha Madhava, Kunja Bihari.
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari.
Gopi Janavallabha, Girivardhari.
Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari.
Gopi Janavallabha, Girivardhari.
Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari.
Yasodhanandana
Yasodhanandana Vraja Janarandana.
Yasodhanandana
Yasodhanandana Vraja Janarandana. Yasodhanandana Vraja Janarandana.
Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava, Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava, Kunja Bihari. Gopi Janavallabha, Girivardhari. Gopi Janavallabha, Yasodhanandana Yamuna Tira Yamuna Tira Yamuna Tira Jaya Madhava Punjabi Hari Jaya Radha Punjabi Hari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Parivajakacharya Ashtataya Satashri A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koda Vaishnavinda ki jai. Namacharya Shlahadasa Thakur ki jai. Prem Se Baho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta ki jai. Shri Shivada Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan ki, Shri Vrindavan Dham ki, Shri Mayapur Dham ki, Jagannath Puri Dham ki, Ganga Maya ki, Yamuna Maya ki, Tulsi Deva ki, Bhakti Deva ki, Samaveta Bhaktivinoda ki, Lord Chaitanya's Haryama Sankirtanam ki, Vrihat Madanga ki, Shri Prabhupada ki, Agoura Premanandi, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Grand Gopal Srila Prabhupada, Namo Vishnu Vidaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale, Sri Mate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Charine Sesha Srinivadi Namaste. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Hare Krishna. Well, we're coming close to Nrsimha Chaturdasi, the appearance day of Lord Nrsimhadev. So we've been hearing a little bit from Prahlad Maharaj's mood and prayers last few sessions. So we're going to continue this evening reading the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj from the 7th canto, which we're going to ask Rasikananda Prabhu, is he with us tonight?
Yes.
If Rasikananda Prabhu can please, where's the book? Please put the verse on the screen from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 9th chapter, text 41. There's one of the many wonderful verses of Prahlad Maharaj in this. You can say, sharing with us what it means to actually worship Lord Nrsimhadev. It's not just a matter of repetition of prayers, it's the mood. Same thing with the mission of ISKCON, it's not just a mechanical organization, but primarily it's a mission with a mood, not just another idea. ISKCON is meant to evoke our eternal natural mood of loving affection towards Krishna, which should manifest in all of our dealings with each other. We're all conditioned, so naturally there are, you could say, imperfections there, or obstacles, it seems, apparent obstacles there. But by hearing the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj, we can help remove those obstacles which are, say, preventing us from that natural flow where the Lord will place his hand upon one's head as he did with Prahlad. All the, you can say, reverential prayers, the submissive prayers, the prayers of repentance, and so on, all good. But we see before Prahlad came, even Lakshmi Devi was not able to acknowledge Brahma or any of the demigods. But because Prahlad had this mood of complete dependence, this mood of complete dependence upon the Lord, absolute dependence, the Lord was completely satisfied. So we're hearing, it's interesting because in 1976 in Mayapur, in India, I don't know, Gopaswami, were you there, Prabhu, in 76? In India, in Mayapur? No, 77 maybe. And in 76, and I believe in 77, I was there in 76, Prabhupada spoke on these verses, including the one on the screen. Every morning he was giving Bhagavatam class from the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj. I believe in 77 he was also preaching from the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj to give us this opportunity to enter into this association, because by association we develop the mood. There are other ways too. Mercy of Krishna is always there. But specifically by association, we can develop the mood. That's how we sojourn in this material world. Association, we develop different tendencies, different conceptions, different, and so on. Just different natures. So we awaken our dormant, you could say, natural Krishna conscious nature by association. And Prahlad Maharaj being an eternal associate of the Lord. He's not a conditioned soul. We hear stories of him becoming Prahlad. We hear many stories like this, which are encouraging, especially for ourselves, that we can develop that mood of Prahlad Maharaj. It's not that Prahlad Maharaj is a conditioned soul and becomes an eternal associate like we do, exactly. He's an eternal associate of the Lord, constantly with the Lord. He appears in different forms to serve the Lord's purpose in different ways. So in this particular appearance of Lord Nrsingadev, he appears in this wonderful way to give us this great opportunity to associate with him. And by associating with Prahlad, we might be able to develop the right mood, pure devotional service. Because as we were discussing maybe last week, I don't know, but the importance of Lord Nrsingadev in the lives of those who are followers of Lord Chaitanya. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Jagannath Puri, and he would love to go daily to the Tota Gopinath temple to hear Bhagavat recital from Gadadhar Pandit, who is none other than expansion of Srimati Radharani, the mood of Srimati Radharani, and also Lalita Devi. He would daily recite Srimad Bhagavatam. Devotees would gather around to hear just the recital of the Bhagavatam. It's so satisfying to the heart. So Lord Chaitanya, but what would he be reciting? We might think he's reciting the 10th canto, intimate pastimes to satisfy, the hankering of Lord Chaitanya for his beloved. But not maybe also, but primarily he was reading the pastimes of Prahlad Maharaj and Dhruva Maharaj, especially these two pastimes from the Bhagavatam. We have to imbibe this mood if we are to enter into the actual mood of pure devotional service, of loving affection. Our heart have to be purified, cleansed of all of our affection, not don't get it wrongly, but our separate affection for objects separately from Krishna, seeing the material world separate from Krishna, seeing our family separate from Krishna. We all belong to Krishna. So seeing everything in relationship with Krishna is not, that's correct. But when we see things as objects of our sense enjoyment, and we want to try to manipulate them for our pleasure, this can bind us in the material. We have to become cleansed of these various anarthas, unwanted or obstacles on the path of bhakti. Also offensive mentality, whatever it may be, they all fall under this bracket of various differential or separatist mentality from Krishna. So that is cured by association with pure devotees. We do not have that separatist mentality. They have the mentality of unity, of oneness with the Supreme Lord in loving affection. And that can awaken the affection. So this evening we're going to hear one of the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj. And for the next few sessions up to Nishidev Chaturdasi, for those who are with us tonight from, I suppose, from anywhere really, it's except for maybe the United States, I'm afraid. Sorry about that. But anyone in Europe, in India, Malaysia, Philippines, Australia, Fiji, Singapore, New Zealand, wherever you're from, on that side of the world, you will probably find the time tomorrow convenient. We're going to have another session at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. 10 o'clock in the morning. Hopefully that will be more suitable. We really are inspired by those devotees in Australia, especially in Philippines, even more so, practically speaking, it's the middle of the night. Join us on these sessions, and I thank you very much from the bottom of my heart for giving us your association. So we'll try to make it a little bit more convenient tomorrow, and we'll see how it goes. 10 o'clock in the morning. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevach itanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who just like desire trees are full of compassion and can fulfill the desires of everyone. This is their nature. It may not look like it. We're in a situation in the world today which evokes compassion, which evokes concern for others. And we herald those who are putting themselves out to try to help people on the physical platform. On that platform, it is very laudable. And certainly it needs to be done. But beyond and above that is the eternal beneficial. Which only
Please
those
mute the microphone. Somebody interfering.
Only those who know the purpose of life. Only those who know the cause of suffering. Only those who know the cure, etc., can really share with the world, the conditioned souls. Otherwise, we can just try to help each other in this world of illusion, to try to progress, to try to be more comfortable, whatever it is, but we are still under the influence of the external energy, illusion. We are still possessed of separatist mentality from Krishna, the mentality of being the enjoyer, of seeing things in relationship with me. Only those pure devotees who see everything in relationship with Krishna can help connect us with Krishna. Otherwise, it's a speculation. Even if we do believe in God, if we're not following the method of connecting, we will not actually get the result. We get a reflection or a shadow, but not the real thing. Only those who are actually connected with the Supreme Lord in loving devotion. It's a simple example. If you don't have something, how can you give it? If I don't have any money, how can we give money? Similarly, if we don't have love of God, how can we give? So this is the principle. Prahlad Maharaj is the emblem of love of Godhead. We can see as in Dasya Rasa, in service movement. But it is pure devotional service, the very foundation of all the various relationships with the Supreme. We have to establish that root of our relationship with Krishna, which is pure devotion, devoid of all other anyabhilasitashunam, jnana kamadyanavatam, anukulina krishnanushilam. This is pure devotional service, that it is without any desire to become freed of reactions, even freed of any desire for material achievement. We don't petition the Lord for material reasons. We don't petition the Lord for elevation to higher planets or even liberation. We don't petition the Lord to get mystic powers or to become a learned scholar, etc., etc. No. Pure devotion service, anukulena. Anukulena means pleasing to Krishna. It's the mood. We know that in our relationships. Even if a person is not very expert at this and that, but their mood is very sweet and very loving and submissive and all nice qualities are there. Oh, that is so satisfying to the heart. Even they may not be good at this, and that, but their mood is what really touches the heart. It's the mood of the devotee. So let's hear the mood of Prahlad now. Text number 41 of the 9th chapter of the 7th canto. Can they read the verse of this on the screen?
Yes.
I'm sure they can.
Yes.
They can. Hare Krishna. It's quite a long verse. I'll read it through and then we'll repeat it once, okay? I like to remember in 1976 how Prabhupada would sit there and then I think it wasn't Prajuna, it was one Bengali or one Indian devotee who would chant the verses and then Pushta Krishna Maharaj would read the English verse and translation. So it's very, you can actually hear this. This is recorded. You can take it if you have the opportunity. I recommend everyone to get this, all of Prabhupada's lectures and bhajans, listen to them regularly. And you can even find this lecture. It's amazing. I'm going to read a little bit from it tonight, actually, bringing back memories. Evam svakama patitam bhavavaitaranyam.
Evam swakarma patitam bhavavaitaranyam.
Anyonya janma maranasana pita pitam. Pashyan janam svaparavigraha vairamaitram. Ante tiparachaраpi prihimudamadya. That's one of the special features of that year. This is the first time we heard this meter, this tune, and it became a common one then for pretty much all the verses in Bhagavatam with this length of line. But it was so good. He was an expert, probably expert in Sanskrit, but he would sing it so nicely. It was so powerful. And the translation of this verse, we can get the translation coming now. Here it comes. My dear Lord. So this is Prahlad Maharaj praying to Lord Nrsimha. My dear Lord, you are always transcendently situated on the other side of the river of death. But because of the reactions of our own activities, we are suffering on this side. We are suffering on this side. Indeed, we have fallen into this river and are repeatedly suffering the pains of birth and death and eating horrible things. Now kindly look upon us, not only upon me, but also upon all others who are suffering. And by your causeless mercy and compassion, deliver us and maintain us. There was a message there. Did you read it? Okay. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Prahlad Maharaj, a pure devotee, prays to the Lord not only for himself, but for all suffering living entities. And that means not just humans. Sometimes we only think of humans, It confers all living entities, everyone, even the non-moving living entities. Ants are moving, but many living entities are not moving. Even we've devotees have been busy cutting down thorn bushes at New Mayapur. We're also thinking of the thorn bushes' welfare. We hope that they're also going to get spiritual benefit. Having been in the holy place of New Mayapur here in France, now clearing the way, we hope, for service to the deities, that they also get benefit. Every living entity of pure Vaishnava has no enemy. The Goswamis, they're a friend to everyone. They have no enemies. Friend to everyone is a pure devotee, because naturally they see everyone as Krishna, belonging to Krishna. How can you have an enemy? when everything that exists actually belongs to Krishna. So if we have animosity towards anything or anybody, then we have animosity towards Krishna. Animosity may be seemingly expressed, but it's only when the situation is there, which is pretty much the whole situation we're living in, which is not favorable to helping to connect people to Krishna. So it's causing suffering to people. So a devotee is very sad that people are suffering in this world due to the fact that we're not connected to Krishna. Though sometimes he may, like a loving parent, express a little anger sometimes to try to shake things up, to bring things closer to Krishna, to reconnect everything and everybody to Krishna. But otherwise, he has no enemy whatsoever. He's only thinking for everyone's welfare. There are two classes of Vaishnavas: the Bhajananandas and the Goshtianandas. The Bhajananandas worship the Lord only for their own personal benefit. For the Goshtianandas try to elevate all others to Krishna consciousness so that they may be saved. Fools who cannot perceive repeated birth and death and the other miseries of materialistic life cannot be sure of what will happen to them in the next birth. Indeed, these foolish, materially contaminated rascals have manufactured an irresponsible way of life that does not consider the next life. They do not know that according to one's own activities, one receives a body selected from 8,400,000 species. These rascals have been described in Bhagavad Gita as Dushkritino Mudaha. Non-devotees, those who are not Krishna conscious, must engage in sinful activities, and therefore they are mudas, fools and rascals. They are such fools, they do not know what will happen to them in their next life. Although they see varieties of living creatures eating abominable things, pigs eating stool, crocodiles eating all kinds of flesh, and so on, they do not realize that they themselves, because of their practice of eating all kinds of nonsense in this life, will be destined to eat the most abominable things in their next life. People don't care, do they? I mean, some people do. And some people have a little bit of consciousness of this, mode of goodness, a little bit there. We have in the modern society today quite a strong, movement or move towards a more healthy lifestyle, eating vegetarian or vegan diets, etc. A little bit more changed by goodness, but it's still, in the material sense, that's in the spiritual sense, it's still in ignorance because it's still eating for our own sense gratification. And that will ensure us of a future body in this material world. It might be in a better body, it may not be. Depends what we're eating. Some people would have very little discrimination at all, anything under the sun practically. Even now, they don't realize that even eating meat is maybe it is whatever the cause of our present pandemic in the world today. Some say it's because of wet markets and eating wild animals and things like this. We don't know if it is or isn't. Who knows? But whatever it is, that's the usual indication. So this is an example in itself because people are so keen on eating flesh of other animals. We discussed the other day, this is actually a manifestation of envy because we want to eat the animal's body. They've got something I want. I want to eat it. Or I want to enjoy it for sex purposes or whatever it may be. This is envy manifested in the material world. So, ensuring us of future lives in this material world. So here's some vivid examples of people who eat various kinds of meat, flesh, this, that, the other. The reaction to that is that we have to take a body in such a way that will be eaten in our future lifetimes. But people don't believe in this. So what can we do? So they have to suffer the consequences of our present action to a certain extent in this lifetime also. What to say? They have no belief because they're completely covered by ignorance. But Prahlad Maharaj is the pure devotees knowing that they're covered by ignorance. That doesn't mean they ignore them. Pure devotee is very concerned. If one of our children happens to have some problem, we pay extra attention. We're really concerned for their welfare. The Vaishnava is always afraid of such an abominable life, and to free himself from such horrible conditions, he engaged himself in the devotional service of the Lord. Well, this may be, you could say, an example for us, because at our stage, I think Prabhupada said many times, we should aspire to go back to Godhead. That's for sure. Then again, we hear from pure devotees, they don't even care about that. Narayana Paraksavena Kataschana Vidyati Svagapavaga Narakeshu, they don't care whether they're in heaven or hell. It means nothing to them. They stay in this world because wherever they are, they're absorbed in the service of Krishna. That's the spiritual world. It's not a question of getting out of this place. It's a question of getting out of this separatist mentality, this enjoying mentality, this mentality of being attached to this material world with consequent anxiety, fear, and so many other consequent reactions which come of it. So that's what one would be afraid of, to fall under the illusion and to desist from serving Krishna for his pleasure. So this is you could say the fear that a devotee has, that he may fall away from that platform of devotion and pure devotee. At our stage, however, we may still be inclined to enjoy this material world. And that's a very dangerous state of mentality. The pure devotees are very showing us we have to be very careful not to indulge in wanting to get respected, wanting to get facilities, wanting to get rewards. In the beginning stages, these are often the main motivations. To get respected, to get recognized, to get some result from our activity, and so on, like that. But this is not the ultimate stage of devotion. It may be a stage like a young child, a stage which helps them to progress towards higher education, but it's not the ultimate goal. Prabhupada goes on to say, the Lord is compassionate to them and therefore he appears for their benefit. So as you could say, aspiring devotees, the Lord comes into this world to try to enliven us, protect us, help us to come to the platform of pure devotion. Yada yada hi dharma shadlani bhakti dharmashis tadatmanam shajamyaham. This famous verse from the Bhagavad Gita in the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Was it text 8 or something? I think it's text 7. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharat, and a predominant rise of a religion, at that time I descend myself. So you could say at the moment there certainly is a decline in religious principles. I don't know if there's even a decline in religious principles. I don't know if there are any religious principles to decline from. Looking at it in another way. Anyway, it's whatever it was originally, it certainly declined. We're compromising the original teachings, not following them even if they're there, justifying the fact that we not even supposed to follow them or don't need to follow them, etc., etc. It's hardly a favorable mood of evoking pure love of Godhead. If we understand what pleases the Lord, we should be aspiring to achieve that which pleases him. So the Lord comes to try to rectify this situation. He's come in this age of Kali, as we know, Kali Clare. In this age of Kali Clare, Dharma, Harinama Sankirtan, he's come in the age of Kali as the Nama Sankirtan. Namarupa Krishna Avatar, Kali Clare, Namarupa Krishna Avatar, has come in the form of the holy name. Sometimes people ask this question, well, it's so degraded now, the world's so degraded, in one sense, pretty much in every sense. Why isn't the Lord appearing? Well, he has appeared. He's come in his most accessible and merciful form as Sri Nama. So we should take shelter of him in that form. The Lord is always ready to help the fallen soul because they are fools and rascals. They do not take to Krishna consciousness and abide by the instructions of Krishna. Therefore, although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is personally the Supreme Lord Krishna, he comes as a devotee to preach the Krishna consciousness movement. Yare deka tare kaha Krishna upadesh. One must therefore become a sincere servant of Krishna. Amara Gaya Guru Hana Tara Edesh. One should become a guru and spread Krishna consciousness all over the world simply by preaching the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. Very simple. We don't have to, when Prabhupada says here become a guru, it doesn't mean, oh, guru, I can't be a guru. No. The guru in this sense is one who is passing on without adulteration the message of the previous spiritual master. So even if we're not very philosophically inclined, we may not even be so strong in our Krishna consciousness. We can pass that pure message on by giving others Srila Prabhupada's books or connecting them somehow or another to devotees of the Lord. Somehow or another, get them just to chant Hare Krishna. Give them prasadam. These are all different ways. Anybody can become a guru. Anyone can spread the message of Krishna consciousness. This is the real compassion of living entity. It's not. It is also in the heart. You can say a mood of feeling great prayer, compassion, feelings like that. But a Ghostianandi is not just one who's like that. Bhajanandis also have that mood if they're genuine. You rarely find a genuine Bhajanandi. Mostly it's kind of like imitation. But a genuine Bhajanandi is full of compassion for all living entities. Someone like Gorky Shodas, Babaji, and so on. Their only desire is for the welfare of all living entities in the universe. That's the mood. But a Ghostianandi, one who's actually active in this field. Yeah, we can go off screen now and get back to our there we go. A Ghostianandi is one who actively engages in such a way as to try to connect others and engage others in devotional service. So Prabhupada was an emblem of Ghostianandi, one who's full of compassion for all living entities. And they're always thinking of how, somehow or another, how to help others to connect with Krishna. So this beautiful purport here of Srila Prabhupada. Now I'm going to read something very interesting. Which Prabhupada, in 1976, when he was speaking on this very verse, said, this is a part of his lecture. You probably won't be able to find it in the short span of time we've got. We act, Prabhupada says, we act according to our whims, and the result and action is there immediately. The nature's law, God's law is there. Prabhupada was talking about how a judge, sometimes people think that God is judgmental, that he is biased, Why is he allowing suffering? Why are some people rich, some poor? Some people may question. Fair enough. But the reason is he's reciprocating. That's a hard one. If we don't believe in the soul, we don't believe in the eternality of life, if we only think this one life is all in all, this would be hard to stomach. So again, some preparation is there before we can really grasp the root or the foundation of this easy understanding. Many things are like that. So God is like a judge. If somebody does something, like, commits a crime, and they get caught and they go to the court, is it the judge who's to blame or the criminal? The judge may say 10 years in prison. So who's to blame, the judge or the criminal? The criminal may say, I'm going to get my own back on that judge. Why is he doing this to me? And if you're in the medical world, sometimes it's also like that too. It may not be also. But sometimes we do things which cause our own illness. We may even know that we're doing something which is dangerous, just like, like when we smoke a cigarette, right? Isn't it? You smoke a cigarette, it says on the packet, what does it say on the packet?
Smoking kills.
Smoking kills. It used to be cigarette smoking may be injurious to your health. About 30 years ago it said like that. Then it went, cigarette smoking is dangerous for your health. Then it says cigarette smoking causes cancer, heart attack, or things like that. And it said cigarette smoking may kill. Now it says smoking kills. Simple as that. Smoking kills. How many deaths a year are related to cigarette smoking? How many deaths a year? I've forgotten. It's a huge number. Huh?
Say something like
9 million. 9 million deaths a year due to smoking cigarettes. That's like they say there's so many deaths due to coronavirus. On average, annually, 9 million a year. Now, everybody knows that smoking cigarettes is good for your health. I mean, not good for your health. Yet they're still doing it. Right? They're still buying cigarettes, selling cigarettes, and so on and so forth. They know it. Your internet connection is unstable. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Everything is unstable in this world, so don't be surprised if the internet's not unstable either. There's nothing stable in this world, in reality. And certainly our health is not stable. Everybody is going to be subject to birth, death, disease, and old age at some point in time. So, so people don't have this understanding. So the judge, accordingly, he's reciprocating with people. He doesn't say he doesn't like or does like. Yeah, if his own relative comes in there and they've also committed a crime, course, they may not have the relative being the judge, but just say it is. You say, oh, my relative, I better, although they committed murder, I better reward them. They're my relative. I reward you with $1 million in compensation for all the trouble we put you through. No, they have to be treated equally. Otherwise, the judge is in trouble. He can't take a bribe. We've got to experience that if we infect, it's interesting Prabhupada's talking about that in this very verse. We have experienced that if we infect some disease, contaminous disease, then we must suffer from that disease. So it is not God's creation that somebody is suffering from some painful condition. Somebody is enjoying. No, we infect ourselves with some contamination because this world, this material world, is full of contamination. So the root of it, of course, is our very coming into this material world is a contaminated place. It's not just, oh, what is it? Now we have a pandemic. And sure enough, it's something going on, no doubt. But it's always like that. There's always a pandemic. If we look at it in the bigger picture, people are, completely captivated by ignorance and are, overwhelmed, infected by the material energy around us, which is the cause of our taking birth. And it may not be in a human body, it may be so many things. Right from day one, it's like many of us, not all of us, but many of us were exposed to meat eating, all kinds of, sinful activities. Right from day one. But that's the result of our past. It's not because by good ill fortune we've been born here and you weren't born there. It's a result of our past karma and our past desires. We are responsible for where we're at. It's not that, why is somebody doing this to me? So unless we become a little responsible for our actions, we can't get out of this never-ending, you could say, cycle of samsara, birth and death. We infect ourselves with some contamination because this world, this material world, is full of contamination. What do you expect if you jump into a pond full of poison? You expect to get poisoned. You can't start. Why is this happening to me? So the material world is, in one sense, it's like that. Therefore, one has to take vaccine, Prabhupada says, injection to protect himself. And this is the big problem now. They don't have a vaccine, right? Obviously, there's no vaccine for it right now. If there ever will be one, who knows? There'll be something else after that, don't worry. So anyone who has come to this material world must know that he has come in a place which is a place of epidemic. The whole world is a place of epidemic. I was saying this in the lecture, isn't it? The whole situation is contaminous. Therefore, one has to take vaccine. So you must have to remain very cautious. Otherwise, you will have to suffer. So in different ages, in different time, different types of medicines and vaccines are recommended. And only we know online now, you'll probably find 1,000 different solutions to the problem that people are speculating left and right. But okay, maybe it has some temporary benefit, maybe it doesn't. But it doesn't solve the real problem. We're still on this bodily platform of life thinking, I'm here to enjoy, keep going. Even though we're 95, 99 years old, we're still trying to hang in there. Somehow or other, save me, So it's just a matter of time, It's like, it's not a matter of, it's not a matter of curing it, it's maybe prolonging the inevitable. That people don't realize what the real purpose of human life is. Therefore, one has to take. So you must be very cautious. Otherwise, you will have to suffer. So in different ages, different times, different types of medicines and vaccines are recommended. But in this age of Kali, it is so dangerously contaminous that no other process of medicine will act. Because everywhere we go, we see, we're exposed. Where can you go? Even in India. Everywhere now, materialism is just rampant, isn't it? Education, material education, everyone is subjected, practically speaking. You can hardly get away with it. Wherever you go, and even if you hide away somewhere, the whole ether is surcharged with, negative electromagnetic vibrations, right? Radiation, this thing, that thing. You can't get away with it. It affects people's minds. It's very difficult to become immune from the effects of Kali Yuga. Even if you live in the middle of the Himalayas under the ground, there's still some, vibrations there which are, contaminous. That's probably uses the word contaminous. I don't know if that's an actual word, but Prabhupada uses it, contaminous. What is then the rescue? Is there any hope? Is there any hope for people? What is the hope? Some watered down kind of piety, religious behavior and so on, something, but it's very watered down. The only medicine is, what is the only medicine? Harinam Sankirtan, chanting the holy names. Therefore Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Harinama, Harinama, Harinama eva kevalam, Kalo naskeva, 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 gatiranyata. Beautiful verse. This verse from the Brihat Naradiya Purana, quoted several times in Chaitanya Charitamrita and other places. Our next class, that will be on, what's it today, Friday? Tomorrow morning, Saturday morning, we'll be carrying on with the same verse with the further commentaries on this verse. Devotees, they continue to finish the verse. Prabhupada, this is the only medicine, the only one, to become free from the infection. This Harinam is the only medicine, Bhavoshadi. Oshadi means medicine. Parikshit Maharaj says, Harinam, this chanting of Hare Krishna is not meant. It says Harinam, this chanting of Hare Krishna is not meant for the conditioned soul. Because as soon as one chants Hare Krishna Mahamantra, he immediately becomes freed from the contaminous, contagious position. So those who want to stay in this material world, watch out. Be careful. You've got to be careful. If you chant Hare Krishna, you're in danger. You're in danger of getting out of this material world. I don't want to get out of here. I want to stay here. I want to enjoy. I don't want to leave my family. I don't want to leave my country, my business, even my religion. Right? Krishna says, Sarva Dharmam Parityagya Mami Kamsh. Give up this mundane concept. Huh? I'm a this, I'm a that. I'm a Hindu, I'm a Christian, I'm a Buddhist, I'm a Muslim, I'm an atheist, I'm a communist, I'm a whatever we think we are. All these isms, brothers. We're going to let go of them. We're none of these things. They may be helpful for us to realize who we are, but in and of themselves, that's not what we are. And if we remain attached to that, then we're stuck at a certain level of our relationship with Godhead. And all that says we let go. This is also, you could say less, and if properly guided, maybe helping us to become free of contamination. But if we remain at that stage, we're still contaminated, still a contagious position. It still has material connotations. There is a verse, Ekahari namayato papa hare, papihaya tato papa, kati bara nare. Once chanting of Hare Krishna mantra is so powerful that all the sinful reaction of life immediately gone. Of course, there's a quality in chanting. Any chanting, of course, tremendous benefit. At least it's the beginning of coming to that complete freedom. But pure chanting without offense, immediately all reactions come. Immediately. You have read the life of Ajamil? He was very, very sinful. He committed so many sinful activities. But at the last moment, he simply chanted, Narayan, Narayan, Narayan. Immediately he became free. Immediately, Vishnu Duta came to rescue him from the hands of the Yamaduta. Just see what is the power of chanting the holy name. So this is fact, that if we chant Hare Krishna, we immediately become free from all contamination of this material world, provided, there is another aspect, provided we don't commit it again. That is required. That we finish all the resultant action of contamination of this material life. We were reading this morning some of the wonderful associates or disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj. There was one man, I can't remember his name, he was some kind of businessman or something or another, some position, some responsible position. Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj's, I think Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj himself came to the village or the township where he was from. The man's young son was about 11 years old, and he kind of happened to hear Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj talk, and he followed the devotees all around the place. And they said, would you like to come back with us to Calcutta? 11-year-old kid, he said, yes. So they said, come on. India was like that in those days, you know. Nowadays it's not like we can't do that now, of course, but that was like that. So he jumped in the train with them as they were going back to Calcutta, and on the way he started getting a bit nervous. I haven't even told my family that I've left. He started feeling a bit strange. So Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj personally said, don't worry, I'm here. Have no fear, I will look after you. So they went back to Calcutta. Of course, after a few days, the father found out where he was, he was looking and found out where he'd gone. So the father went trooping off down to Calcutta. He was up somewhere near Darjeeling or something. And he went down to Calcutta with the intention, obvious intention of bringing his son back to, how can you do this? How can you do this? He said, well, yeah, we understand your point. They treated him nicely, the father and so on. Well, please, if you can stay a few days, we're just doing a parikrama right now. We can't deal with this right now. We're just about to start Navadvip parikrama. Well, if you want, you can come and join us with your son. You can come and join us. The man, obviously, he was very pious also. He said, okay, I'll join. So he joined the Navadvip parikrama. After 9 days or whatever it was, 7 days on the Navadvip parikrama, he stayed on a little longer, talked with Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, and after a few more days, he fell at his feet and begged for initiation. The power of association. But he was an opium addict. Up to that moment when he fell at Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj's feet that very morning, he'd been taking opium and chewing pan. He said his room was, the wall was red with spitting of pan all around his room. Couldn't stop chewing pan. And he was taking opium every day. Opium addict. It was very common in India in those days. The British introduced it. They were really into opium. And have a bit of fun, So the devotee said, but Guru Maharaj, he's still taking opium. Bhaktisiddhanta looked at him and said, will you promise not to take it again? He said, yes, Gurudev. And that very day he initiated him. And he never took opium again. Never took it again. He promised. He was sick as a dog for about a week. Vomiting, coming out of him. Because, he was addict. But he refused to take it. He just determined he was going to follow his vow. No, I'm not going to do that again. And he became a wonderful devotee. I've forgotten his name. Very wonderful devotee. So, and just you could say an extreme example of this, never to do it again. We usually practice a little bit first to make sure we can. In ISKCON, it's not quite the policy. It's usually a testing period. But that was the first initiation. The second initiation was a testing period. But the first initiation was quite often like that. Prabhupada actually did that one time in Madras. I think it was Madras. Nelo or somewhere. Some Indian ladies came and they wanted initiation. They were still taking tea and things like that. He said, you promise you won't follow? Okay. Straight away he gave. Pure devotee can do that. He's got the power. We can't imitate that. And we all know that. But this is the point. We should follow it. If we really want to become, otherwise we start to feel, but still as Christians, reciprocation with it. He gives us what appears to be like karmic reactions to kind of bring us to our senses again. So we realize, oh my goodness, we come back to the service of the pure devotee again, maybe a little bit more humbled. The most dangerous offense is namnan bala papa buddhi. If we think that I am so fortunate, I have got this harinam, and it can vanquish all kinds of sinful reaction. So very good instrument. So I go on committing all kinds of sinful activities and just say, Hare Krishna. Very good. Then it will be neutralized. This is the most dangerous offense. One can get into that sometimes. Again, it's a mood. There's a mood. We may be weak-hearted and we may fall into, some kind of maya. But that doesn't mean I don't care. Who cares? I'll just say Hare Krishna and I can do anything. That's very offensive. But if it's like I'm so fallen and we're open-hearted, you could say humble-hearted, and we beg for the Lord's mercy that we can carry on, we can strengthen whatever it is, some kind of humility is there. That's different. But if we're, knowingly committing an offense and we don't care, that's very offensive. Now, because I am chant, I know that by chanting Hare Krishna, I shall be freed from the resultant action of my sin. So let me go on. Throughout the whole day, I shall commit all kinds of sin, and in the evening, I shall chant Hare Krishna, and everything will be finished. This Rasputin is very dangerous. We must be very careful. Don't take Hare Krishna mantra as an instrument to neutralize your sins. Don't take it. It's a fact that as soon as you are initiated with Hare Krishna mantra, you become free, but don't commit it again. I don't know. That's just a bit from Prabhupada's lecture. So I'm going to finish there. Any questions? Our dear devotees. Okay, here's a question from, can they all see the screen? Because some of us don't like to have their name. This is probably not confidential. There are some food which we buy from materialistic people. Milk and milk products are the main example. Does the Lord accept our offering in this case? What means love if we don't consider how to avoid to be part of the sinful, profit-oriented society? Love. Well, love. Love is sometimes, Prabhupada would be addressed with this question, Prabhupada, I have no love for you. So many of your devotees, they're doing so many services, I'm not, I have no love for you. One time, I don't know if it was Bhagava or some, not Bhagava, it was Bhagava, I don't know who it was. One of the photographers asked Prabhupada this question, and Prabhupada said, what are you doing? He said, I'm just taking photographs. What are you taking photographs for? For the BTG, for this and that. And Prabhupada said, but that's love. You're doing it for me. You're doing it, for my mission. So we follow the spiritual master, the pure devotee, according to time and circumstance. Yes, Prabhupada did want us to try to be self-sufficient. He did want us to try to produce our own milk products. He did want us to try to produce our own food and our own wood for the houses. And he did want so many things. We wanted that. But in most situations, especially in the beginning of our movement, we had very little choice. And Prabhupada himself, he would ask us to buy these things. Personally buying them himself, asked us to do it, time and circumstance, making the best use of a bad bargain. Of course, devotees should be careful what they do buy, and make sure that it is vegetarian, at least that must be there. And some devotees who are, sometimes they're working in far distant places like Dubai or whatever it may be, it's very difficult. Kuwait, I don't know, maybe easier now with devotees there, but in many places there's no devotee community. So it is very difficult, but we should try to be as pure as we can. Try to find out what is actually shocha, what is pure. According to time, place, and circumstance. I'll give you an example. When one devotee, Harikesh Swami at the time, he was asked by Prabhupada to preach in Eastern Europe. This was during the communist time. And, Harikesh was a very kind of expressive person. Sometimes you get quite dramatic. And, hey, Prabhupada, I can't preach there anymore. And Prabhupada was saying, no, you must, he was going on. But I can't find anything to eat there, Prabhupada. There's only meat and potatoes. Nothing else to eat. And Prabhupada said, then eat meat. Eat meat. You've not gone there to eat, you've gone there to preach. If you have to, he wasn't saying do it, but if you have to, do it. Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj said the same thing with his disciples on the Kadashi. Many of them attest to this. Sannyas disciples, preachers. Said Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj said, if to preach you have to eat grains on the Kadashi, eat grains, if it's necessary. If it is required for your preaching, you don't stop preaching. Our business is to preach. Our business is to share. So that was not that they did that, but the point is there that we have to know what our real business is. We get so. I was reading another devotee we were reading about. He was so hung up with shocha and shocha, pure and impure, and everything he did, he would wash his hands after it. Of course, it's good right now with the coronavirus. And if he walked out the door 5 meters, he would wash his feet and legs when he came back in. And I said, man, what are you doing? This is not our mission. Don't waste time like this, he said. Our business is, we have more important things to do. This is a Sankirtan movement. This is not a washing movement. He chastised him heavily for being overly concerned about this. Not that we should be lenient and be, completely the other way either. Do what is needful according to time and circumstance, but get on with our business. But do try to make sure that it's as pure as possible. Pure as possible. Don't be lazy about it. And as much as possible, we should take ingredients which are not cooked already. I mean, you can say butter is prepared cheese, I don't know what you eat. But these type of things may be already semi-prepared or whatever they are. We try to minimize it. We try to make our own if we can. But in most cases, it may be not possible. It's just like, we're trying, there's effort, the movement of ISKCON to try to, produce our own milk products. But, if there's just say there's 1 million members of the greater ISKCON, how on earth are we going to provide milk products for 1 million members? How on earth? We can hardly provide in farms for our own residents on the farm. It's a fact. It's a fact. You'd have to be juicing like, if every person took, say, half a litre of milk a day, you'd have to produce 500,000 litres of milk a day to just feed the devotee community. Quite a lot. We're not in a position necessarily, and so some devotees choose other things. We can try to grow our own food, as we mentioned the other night. This is something we would hope that devotees take to heart during this period of time, and not just take to heart, but take to action and get out in the field and start growing things, or in their garden. You probably don't have a field, but at least you may have a garden, something you may have, and grow something, grow food. That's very nice. It's not the ultimate purpose, but that's a very nice thing to do. Whatever is favorable for our preaching. But especially initiated devotees should be very careful about eating food which is contaminated in the sense of cooked by persons who are cooking for sense gratification, even devotees who are in bad consciousness, who are not chanting their rounds properly, who are not, in Maya, basically speaking, or their attitude is very unfavorable. It affects us. It definitely affects us. Krishna can do anything, and if you have no choice, Krishna knows you have no choice. Prahlad Maharaj ate poison. Nrsimhadev gave him poison, but Krishna neutralized everything because he's pure devotee. We may not be so pure, we may get affected by it. Pure devotee, Lord Shiva, he could drink an ocean of poison. And probably we shouldn't imitate Lord Shiva. Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj said, if you eat food cooked by non-devotees, your mind will become wicked. It pollutes our consciousness. We start becoming, doubtful of so many things. So care is taken in our consciousness when we cook, how we move ingredients, how we prepare, how we offer. The more the consciousness is connected to Krishna, the more benefit, the more reciprocation is there from Krishna. But even if the receiver is sincere and pure in heart, but by force of circumstances, you're in Russia during the communist time, or in prison, or you're somewhere you have no choice, Krishna understands. Or in a city where you can't get anything but what you buy in a supermarket or whatever, Krishna understands. He knows. It's the same thing with the holy name. He knows you're not trying to cheat. You're trying to do the best you can. That's all. And prepare it the best you can. And offer it to the best you can. It's a matter of consciousness, a matter of mood. Thank you for that lovely comment and question. Is this another one?
Yes, Maharaj.
Mahaprabhu wants us to become guru. Then what happened to the sinful reactions of the people who give Mahamantra? An initiated devotee, are they linked up to your good self? Well, we hope that they're linked with Prabhupada. I wouldn't say linked to my good self. I hope that there's some connection. Maybe I'm a part of that connection to Srila Prabhupada, who's a pure devotee. I don't know. I hope that's the benefit. If somehow or other you and everyone else can feel a connection with Srila Prabhupada, then there's some value to my existence. Otherwise, there's no value. So we hope that that's the case. And if we're linked with Srila Prabhupada, everyone you link with Srila Prabhupada gets eternally benefited. It doesn't mean to say that every single tendency and desire is eradicated there and then, but the beginning of their connection to the transcendence has begun. They're off the hook, so to speak. It's just a matter of, they haven't been, when you go, I don't know if you go fishing, not. My brother was an addict for fishing. He would take me fishing, so I hated it. But he would take me fishing. You get the thing on the hook, but that's not the end of it. You've got to reel them in, right? So like that, you're on the hook, a spiritual hook. You're as good as out of the ocean, but it's just a matter of time. And sometimes they struggle very hard before you get them out of the water. Sometimes they break the line, they're so determined. But the beginning is there, so everyone you come in contact, depending on, again, our own consciousness, how much deep, how much effect will be there. Sometimes it has a negative effect if we're negative, but still, that negative effect is still the blimmin' Hare Krishnas, they got in my way again. You know, they're still thinking of Krishna. So in the long term, there's still something there. It may take a little while, but we should try to make it quicker. Not that we should try, we should be, you know, cultivating our own consciousness so that automatically benefits others by our contact with them. It's just like with our present pandemic situation. The more contagious you are, the more likely you are to infect people. More likely. And again, we see that certain people are more likely to catch the infection. So we see the same thing. Some people are very much more deeply conditioned in the material world, some people less conditioned. So those who are less conditioned, generally speaking, are more likely to be infected with the message of Krishna consciousness. A similar kind of a thing in the opposite way, you could say. So being a guru means passing on that pure message, and to the degree that we are ourselves pure, you could say. But what is that? I mean, the whole verse says, as you have heard, and as you practice from what you hear from Bhagavatam, you practice what you preach. You don't just speak only. We should also, by practice, religious principles are established by the behavior of the devotees. So behavior is also important in, you know, helping people to connect. They may get the seed, but the seed will not grow if our behavior is bad. They won't cultivate it because I don't like the seed. But it's there, and it's a matter of time eventually. And we see this again and again, even Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj. Many times we're seeing many of his disciples, their first contact with a mission, they didn't like it. They just put it aside. But then later on, they had an experience which attracted them. So that often happens because the first person they meet doesn't attract them, you know. Their behavior, whatever it is very not so good. So they think, what is this? I don't want to be like that. So if the behavior and the philosophy or the teaching should go hand in hand. That's a guru and Sharya. So there's different degrees. So therefore we pass on the message in the form of books. That's a secure way of passing things on. But we should also try to behave in a way which represents our parampara, not just, you know, conditioned. We'll hear about that on the next time round because we'll be discussing that a little bit actually. Anything else up there on the screen? Yeah. How to pray to Lord Nrsingadev. Oh, it's gone. How to pray to Lord Nrsingadev. What is the correct mood to pray to Lord Nrsingadev? Do we have to pray for protection from material dangers or for spiritual protection? Thank you. The usual question is very common question that we people pray to God for, you know, many of us are doing that right now. We have friends, relatives who are suffering for various reasons, many of them from coronavirus. And quite a few people I know are, you know, in the IC with corona, not quite a few, 2 or 3 are there with coronavirus. So it's natural that those who are close to them are family members, and specifically at a certain stage of our involvement in Krishna consciousness, is one stage where you're going to pray on that level. But ultimately, as we know, everything's there in the holy name. Just by taking shelter of Krishna, everything is achieved. So those who are a little bit deeper in understanding, they know that if we just take shelter of Krishna, he arranges everything. It's not that we're in control of that person's life. If the person is in a suffering condition or we're in a suffering condition, we know there's the reactions involved, desires involved, many other things. There's Krishna's will involved. There's many factors involved in the situation which we're in. And a devotee with a little bit of understanding doesn't interfere with the hand of the Lord. That's why, like we used to pray when Prabhupada was physically very sick. My dear Lord Krishna, if you so desire, please cure Srila Prabhupada. We didn't pray to him, Krishna, cure him. Krishna, cure him. If you so desire. This is the prayer Prabhupada gave us. If you so desire. That's the deeper understanding. In the beginning, it's a little touch with, you could say, religiosity, piety, materialism, and so on. And that's how it is. But by gradually associating, we realize that if we just take shelter of Krishna, that which is best for everyone will be. Otherwise, sometimes we're thinking what I want, not what Krishna wants, not even what that person wants, isn't it? Oh, please save them. Please save them. But what does that mean, save them? Bring them back, of course, naturally. Bring them back to good health. That's natural. And it's natural that's going to be there, especially with family members and friends. And so it's a natural kind of feeling. We're very attached. But on a spiritual platform, when we're really thinking of a person's welfare, it's for their eternal welfare, is that they're reunited with Krishna. That's the real benefit. Whether they come physically well or not, then you get the best of both worlds, or not. That's the main thing. You, Krishna, know what's best. We don't know what they're thinking sometimes because we don't know their hearts. We only know our heart. In our heart, we want to have them for various reasons in our presence. It's natural. So it depends really what the situation, time, place, and circumstances are varying. Pure devotees of the Lord, they simply pray for everyone's welfare. My dear Lord, please deliver everyone from this ocean of birth and death. I am willing to stay here forever if necessary and suffer on their account. But please deliver them all. Not that, oh, wow, if they're not here anymore, I don't want to stay here anymore. I want, it's like I've got no one to enjoy with. Prabhupada tells that story, right? Of that drunkard. And when Christian's preaching to the drunkard, he said, look, if you carry on like this, you're going to hell. He said, what's hell? He said, he's going on. Hell, a place, a hellish place, horrible place, this, that, the other. And of course, it didn't do much to him. He was working at a coal mine. And it sounded like his coal mine. He wasn't convinced. So there's two stories. This is one. The other story is actually more to the point. Eventually, he convinced him because he said in hell there are no newspapers. Now, it would be nowadays, there are no mobile phones nowadays. There are no mobile phones in hell. No internet in hell. That's the fate worse than death. So the other one is that he was a drinker and he said, what's this hell? He said, well, I said, he said, you're drinking, you're going to go to hell. But he said, my father drinks, he's going to hell too. My brothers drink, they're also going to hell. My uncle drinks, he's going to hell. My friends are all drinking, they're all going to hell. The Christian preacher said, you're all going to hell, you're all drinking. He said, well, that sounds like a good place. My mother, my brother, my father, my friends, my uncles, my aunts, everybody's there. That's where I want to go. People don't want to get out of here, we're too attached. But ultimately, we have to let go of all these things. Okay, what's the next one?
This was a comment.
Is this the next one?
Yes, Maharaj.
Yeah. Previous activities with.
Let me make it on full screen, Maharaj.
We put a drop of water in a different large container of corn. Okay, preaching tactic. Very nice. So yeah, of course, we chanted Lord Nrsingadev for protection, and Prabhupada gave us this in 1970 or something, like 69, 68. I think. He gave the Nrsingadev mantra for protection at that time because we were very neophyte. Well, I was still a neophyte. I mean, the devotees were just beginning. They weren't ready for anything more. So at that stage, definitely Prabhupada would say, they really need it. Without the Prabhupada left then, there would be no ISKCON, that's for sure. Right? 68, there would have been no ISKCON, We wouldn't be here because it's just joining, and nothing practically speaking. So it was a little bit more, you could say, it seemed to be a little bit more in that line of protection. So yes, our real protection, as Bhakti Vinod Thakur used to pray to Lord Nrsingadev, to remove all the obstacles on the path of pure love of God. So everything's a matter of our stage of adhikar, what level we're on, what level of eligibility we're on. We approach Lord Nrsingadev, who will protect us on different levels. Physically speaking, we may pray like that, but that's again, it's on a very, preliminary stage. So yeah, we pray to Lord Nrsingadev that we don't fall into Maya, that we don't become attracted to the material energy, that we don't try to become the controller of the material world, that we don't try to become the center of attraction ourselves, etc., etc. There are many prayers to Lord Nrsingadev. We've already read a few the last few weeks. Please remove the envious things in my heart, all these obstacles in my heart. We were hearing that on the first session, in fact. So that's one thing. Now, the other part of this prayer is, this statement here is a comment. What they mean here, this is in Philippines. They sell corn, corn, maize, and they have it in water in these buckets, they sell it hot. So they offer water to Krishna, and then on their way, they just put a drop into that water. in a restaurant or a store on the road, with the idea that this might purify people. Bill, it's a good idea. We used to have a good idea like this. When I was young, I'm still young, but when I was younger, as a teenager, our group, we were into certain types of hallucinatory drugs. And I didn't think like this, but some of them were doing in the water reservoirs, the water reservoirs where the water comes through the pipes into your taps. They would put, there's a substance called LSD in there in large quantity into the reservoirs of water. And it actually did have an effect on people, be it what it may, but it actually did trace effect until they found out what was going on. When the devotees were first Rath Yatra in San Francisco in 1967, they were on the beach, maybe Venice Beach or whatever it was, at the Rath Yatra. Prabhupada was staying in another place. He'd been sick and he was in Stinson Beach. And the devotees were doing the Rath Yatra. So after the Rath Yatra, the idea was everyone was going to go up to see Prabhupada. It was the first one on the back of a truck. And they got to the beach and they're all, thousands of hippies there and everyone's freely going around giving people this and that. And there was one group giving out candy, sweets. And the devotees were giving them maybe an apple or banana or something. They were giving them candies and taking this innocent thing, some sweet candies. And after that, the devotees were going up to Stinson Beach to see Prabhupada, but a lot of them didn't come. And so I was asking them, they explained what happened, that this candy was laced with LSD. So many of the devotees were still tripping, as they used to call it in those days. They were still high on LSD. They couldn't get it together to go up there. So those sort of things used to go on. So now, of course, we know better. Didn't know in those days. We get affected like that by association. It may be very temporary and very shallow. So people, when they hear the holy name, as we heard the other day, they become purified, at least for the moment. They become purified. Then they go back into their whatever world they're in. So it may have a tiny, if your intention is like that, there will be a little tiny benefit for people. But that's not our main business, that we spend our whole life just doing that. If that's all we can do that. But our real business is to go a little bit further, of course, by spreading the holy name, by distributing books, and so on like that. But definitely that's a little service that has in the right direction, directionally good. We're putting a little drop of prasad inside the reservoir water. Whatever it is, very small, but a good mood. The mood of Prahlad, may Bennett good fortune come to all living entities. And it's up to Krishna how he reciprocates. That's it. Okay, well, they're getting time. It's passing by. We'd like to fall at everyone's feet and thank you all for your association this evening. And for those who want to tune in tomorrow morning, French time, 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, I guess Rasikananda Prabhu will send out the connection, or he's already done so. You're welcome to join us 10 o'clock European time, Western European time, 9 o'clock UK time, and different times in the day. But most people, we do apologize to those devotees from America who joined us. It might not be a convenient time for you, but I think everywhere else is pretty convenient. Hare Krishna. Thank you all so much again. And we really hope to see you again. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. Hare Krishna. Don't forget Nishinga Day coming up. And I don't know if it's Nishinga Day everywhere.
Krishna Guru Maharaj, Hare Krishna. Krishna Guru Maharaj,
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna Guru
Krishna
Maharaj.
Guru Maharaj, Hare
One of the sessions
Krishna.
coming up will be
Thank you, Guru
Krishna,
Maharaj.
thank you
Hare
Guru Maharaj,
Krishna.
thank you, Hare Krishna.
Krishna Guru Maharaj. Hare
Raj, see you soon, Hare Krishna.
Turn the sound on.
Yes,
Both are same.
Haribol, everyone.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Haribol.
Krishna.
Haribol. Are you there?
Thank you.
Haribol.
Hari Bol, Maharaj Hari Bol.
Good for them. Whatever is good for their spiritual life. Whether they're suffering or whatever is good for their spiritual life. Let us pray for their benefit. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Cooperate.
Jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.